Now, today we're looking at significant figures. So let's have a look first at an example of significant figures. So 4216.5. Now this number has 5 significant figures. So we'd here put 5 significant figures. We count them all right from the beginning, including any numbers after the decimal point. However, if we were to write 0.0026, in fact, the first significant number is the 2. So only the 2 and 6 count. So here we have 2 significant figures. Another example, just to confuse things, say we had 2.4001. In this case, the first significant figure is the 4, and any figures after that figure would also be significant figures. So in this case we have 1, 2, 3, 4 significant figures. These zeros in the between the 4 and the 1 do count as significant figures. What we want to do with these, of course, is look at rounding. So a few examples on rounding. So number 1, if I took a number like 21.47 and I wanted to round that to, let's say, 3 significant figures. Similar to decimal places, we want 3 numbers, so that's the 2, the 1 and the 4. So I'm going to put a line at the position of the third significant figure between the 4 and the 7. I now look at the 7 and I notice that is more than 5, and it would mean that the 4 would be better to be rounded up to a 5, so that the answer to this question is closer to 21.5 rather than 21.4. Second one we'll come to, we have something like 0.4831. And let's imagine we want to round this to 2 significant figures. So again, we start from the beginning. We notice the first 0 is not significant. So the significant figures are the 4 and the 8. So I'm going to put my line after the 8. I look at the number after the line, which is a 3. So it does not affect the 8. So to 2 significant figures, 0.48 would be my answer. The third question we'll come to, let's come to one with zeros at the front. So 0.001006. Notice in this case we might want, say, 3 significant figures. So if I count from the beginning, I notice the 1 is the first significant figure. So it's 100. I'll put my line. In this case, the number after the line is a 6, which does mean that we will round the figure before the line up by 1. So my answer in the end must be 0.001001. I do need to put the decimal point and all the other figures in front in, because we still retain the same number, but we have simply rounded it to say it is closer to 0.00101 rather than 0.00100. Now the next one we'll look at is another tricky example, because in this case we have the situation where we perhaps look at some whole numbers. Let's take 16.5. I want to write that to 2 significant figures. So again, I go to 1 and the 6 are significant. I'll put my line. Now that means that the next numbers are 5, which rounds, because as we do normally, the 5 we round up. So we're going to round the number in front of the line up by 1, and so we should have 17 as our answer. Not 17.0, but just 17 in this case. The next one though is a little not quite so straightforward, because I've got 452.9, and I want 9, and I want that to two significant figures. Now in this case, I'll put my line in the right place. Notice the answer I get is 45. However, that's not possible because 452.9 is nowhere near 45. What I need to do is to actually put in a placeholder in this case. So I do need a 0. That 0 is not significant, but it does need to be there. Let's try another one like that. Let's say 1728.92. And let's assume I want to write this to, say, 3 significant figures. So notice the 1, the 7, the 2, they are the first 3 significant figures. So I'll put my line. And of course the 8, which comes after the line, means that the 2 becomes a 3. So again, we've got 173, but that doesn't make sense. So once again, I do need to put in a placeholder just to make sure that we do still have the same, what we call order of magnitude of the number. In other words, the number 1728.92 is close to 1730, according to the idea that we want 3 significant figures.